I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. Please be seated. My preaching professor at Princeton Seminary, Tom Long, gave our class some great advice. He told us when you get your first parish assignment or when you move to a new parish, in those first few months or on those great occasions like Easter, the Vigil, whenever you get to a new place, he said, never tell them everything you know because you might just succeed. And then you have very little to share for the rest of your ministry among those people. In other words, hold something back. Keep something in your back pocket on reserve. That's the way it is for preachers at Easter and throughout all of Holy Week. We've heard this before, haven't we? And so how in the world do you stand in a pulpit and tell the story any differently or proclaim something that hundreds and thousands of people have proclaimed for now 2,000 years? How do you do it? Our secular culture tries to do it as well. For every Christmas and every Easter, you can find your way into bookstores, and there in the periodical section, Newsweek and Time publish the magazines, and usually the cover of the magazine is something to the effect, is it real? Did Jesus really rise from the dead? It's interesting that our secular culture does it not only in magazines, but it also does it in television and movies, because this is one of the weeks, as I did last night when I returned from the Easter Vigil, I happened to be turning the channels, actually looking for the March Madness results, truth be told, and I came across the movie on Moses. Even this week, our secular culture continues to tell the stories that we know all so well. So how do I improve upon Charlton Heston? I don't quite have his voice, so how do I do that? How do I, as the preacher, improve upon it? Isn't that the way it is with the gospel? Perhaps we should just read the gospel and I get out of the way and we move on with the service. That might help with your lunch plans, by the way. Do not be afraid. I know you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. Despite how many times we have been to a Maundy Thursday or a Good Friday service, no matter how many times we've been through Holy Week or Easter itself, I suspect that many of us find ourselves here asking, where is he? I hear all this rhetoric and big talk from the church. Where is he? Where did he go? If all this talk of the resurrection is really true, if all this talk of new life and reconciliation, if that's really true, where is it? One of my favorite writers that I've mentioned to you before is Frederick Buechner. Not too long ago, he was interviewed in a documentary about his writings and about his life, and he was asked specifically how he came to the Christian faith. For Buechner writes as a skeptic. He writes, self-avowed, as a believing skeptic. And so they asked him, why then, with all the questions you raise in your books and your literature, how can you say you are a believer? To which Buechner responded that there was a moment in his life as a young man when he had to sit down and try to answer the question, what if all this were true? what if all of this were true? And in that moment, Buechner says, he became a believer. And Buechner, in his writing, describes the life and death of Jesus so well, and he writes that there was one who refused a crown of gold and jewels. You and I would choose the crown of gold and jewels, and this one refused a crown, and instead he took a crown of thorns. So Buechner asked, what if that were true? And so Buechner decided he would give his life to this one and claim on this and every Easter that this one is alive. But that takes us back to that question. Where is he? This one that we look for, this one that we come to at church on Easter Day, this one that we are looking for, spent most of his time in this very insignificant backwater place called Galilee. It's a very insignificant village and a very insignificant part of the world. And he spent his time living with and touching those who were considered untouchable, unclean, and dirty. It was in Galilee where he said that God's kingdom is like a big party in which God invites everyone to the party. It was in Galilee where Jesus invited people to become his disciples and live according to God's kingdom. Not a kingdom that you and I would fashion, but a kingdom based on God. We in the church make some very outlandish claims about what we value, and we do that most broadly today. This day of all days, we make a lot of outlandish claims. And one of the most outlandish claims we make is that there was this one in Galilee who spent a lot of time with those who were on the outside looking in, those considered to be given up upon, those considered not worthy, those considered dirty, unclean, untouchable. And Jesus decided to spend his time with them. In fact, one of the first charges against Jesus, and it's a charge that stuck with him all through his ministry, it was a charge that Jesus hung out with drunkards and reprobates. That was the initial charge. He is not here. Don't be afraid. Go on to Galilee. Go to where he encountered and embraced others. Go to Galilee where he gave himself to and for others. Go to Galilee where he touched the unlovable and touched the untouchable. We've all tried to pin Jesus down, and we've all tried to pin down this whole Easter moment and this Easter thing. Newsweek tries to help us. The church tries to help us. We are trying to figure out, where is he? Please remember these words of the gospel writer. He's not here. He's gone back to the very place where he did ministry. That's where you will find Jesus. We spend so much of our time talking about his grave that we might be in danger of overlooking his life. We spend so much time talking about his grave that we don't talk as much about his life. Where is he? He's in Ramallah, which is not too far from Galilee. He's in Ramallah, where St. Andrew's supports both a school and hospital in the Palestinian West Bank, in an area of the world that is not entirely safe because we have certain prejudices about Palestinians. And so we as St. Andrews support people in the West Bank, not far from Galilee. Where is he? He's down Old King Mill at Echo, where we provide food and financial assistance to an ecumenical organization that tries to and does support all sorts of people throughout Fairfax County. Where is he? He's at a place called Facets, which St. Andrews has faithfully supported, doing some of the same things that we do at Echo, providing food and assistance to those who need it most. Where is he? On a Tuesday morning, he is down the hallway just beyond this nave. As teachers, some of you spend your morning with those who have just made their way to this country and they don't know the language. Many of them women who live in quite sheltered areas because of their culture. And they find a place to come. They find a home. Where is he? He's in a place called El Hogar, which you support, helping children off the street to give them tools to hopefully better their lives, to give them an education. Where is he? He's in what you do in ministry. He's not in the grave. Where is he? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The one you're looking for is not here. The one you're looking for is in Galilee, doing ministry. Amen.